Greetings, everybody, and welcome to our. God, I think this is week 7. Can't believe it. Can I just check whether my volume is loud enough? Someone said I was a bit soft last week. Does that sound about right for you? Yeah, fantastic. Thumbs up. That's always good to know. So really good to see so many of you here tonight, and the number's still one or two of you just coming in at the moment. Just before we get into the warm-up, we were having a chat with Mike, our new chairman, last night, has asked me to reinforce. He's put out a questionnaire about how you feel about actually going to a real live rehearsal. So actually, whether you've already done Mike's poll online or not, there's a very quick poll just coming on the screen now. It's 2 very simple questions, and it would be fascinating if you can just give your answer to that. So basically, if choir rehearsals can resume under COVID secure conditions, and subject to further constraints, then how would you feel about it? Just look at the 2 questions carefully, and we'll just see if we can get those answers just before we get cracking this evening.
Thank you, Adrian, for putting that up. That's terrific.
Good. And it's exactly the same wording because I lifted it straight out of yours, so there should be.
You might get a larger poll than I've got. I've got 51 respondents so far, so you may get more.
Okay. Well, we've got 44 already, 46, 48, 50, and we've only got 64 people actually online there at the moment. So I'll just give that another moment or two just to pick up. I might just leave it on actually while we're doing the warm up. Then any late joiners can actually do that as we go as well. So that would be good to do. So thank you for that. So we're just going to go straight into the warm up at this point. So perhaps you'd like to stand. You'll need your straw just in case it's somewhere close by. And also we've got a few tongue twisters as part of the warm up tonight, just to see how many gins you've had before the rehearsal started. So let's just get this started, and here comes the warm-up. So for this warm-up we're going to start with hands as it were on a lifeboat. Imagine you're in a swimming pool with a life belt around you here, and you're putting your elbows down to pull yourself out of the water, and press down with your elbows and feel the whole of the mechanism here lift up. It should also help you to straighten the back a little bit as well in case you're sitting in a slouch position. Probably a good idea to be standing up for the warm-up as we tend to do as well. So press down with those elbows, feel the rib cage separate as you do that, and then let's think about getting something that's really spacious in here to let the voice work. Let's just do some sirening in there. And another. And you should feel the rib cage and the whole of that inner area just really beginning to resonate with the sound of your voice. Let's try that again. And always worth remembering, if you need to get a big sound on the voice, use that elbow position to help actually space things out and get some really good resonant breadth on the sound. So some breathing exercises next. We're going to do 3 sniffs in, 3 blows out, and 3 of those, and then without taking another breath you're going to do 12 out and a long one. So I'll just do the pattern. It's really tricky, that. Let's try again. So really strains on the breath. So the trick is to make sure that your breaths in, those sniffs in at the beginning, are good and long and deep, and that you don't waste too much breath on the blowing out. Let's try that one more time. So here we go. and you should feel right out of breath right at the end of that. So really good exercise just for getting your breathing working as it should be doing. Let's do 1 or 2 tongue twisters to get the tongue working and to get the consonants working really well. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Join in with me. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. And let's try that again with a really good rolled out on red. Here we go. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Can you feel the energy down this part of the mouth as you're doing it? I really hope you can. And here's one that's more for the tongue. We surely shall see the sunshine soon. We surely shall see the sunshine soon. So that's getting clarity on the s sound. Hopefully you haven't got too many gaps in your teeth there, but we're looking for getting that clarity on the sound, but the difference between s and sh. We surely shall see the sunshine soon. Once more. We surely shall see the sunshine soon. Good. And again, can you feel the energy going in your tongue as you do that little exercise? I hope you can. So we're going to turn to our trusty straw to do a little bit of exercise next. And remember, this is really good at helping you use the air in an efficient way. You're not wasting too much. So just get used to blowing through the straw. And you should feel lots of nice air coming out of the bottom there. So we're going to start in D major with a nice, easy, relaxed sound doing this. Okay, so we start there and we're going to go up a little bit higher each time. Here we go. I'm just going to add to that. When you do the jump at the beginning, crescendo through the jump so that you're really joining the two first notes together. Starting from there. Good. And now one that's got a little bit more distance to it across the voice. Starting in C major, you'll recognize the button. Here we go. Nice crescendo at the beginning. Good, and hopefully your lips are tingling at the end of that. So let's do something to get some lovely resonance on the sound. Let's do the spiritual. Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. So I'm looking for lovely bright vowels, but we're going to do the whole of the chorus in just 2 breaths, so we're not going to stop on the pause too long in the second half. Let's try it. Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Here's your breath. Steal away, steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. Let's do another verse of that. Same exercise, just a little bit higher, bright vowels and really soft sound. Steal away, steal away, steal away.
And just to finish off, something to get your brains working. Do you know the tune for knees up, Mother Brown, knees up, Mother Brown, knees up, knees up, knees up, knees up, knees up, Mother Brown? Well, we're not going to bother with the words. We're going to sing it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but keep the numbers coming in that order, even when they don't seem to fit. So let's try it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 1. And you can keep cycling through those until you get it going completely round the head and getting it wildly wrong. So there's something to get you ready for the first bit of the rehearsal tonight.
So there we have it, Knees Up Mother Brown, possibly for the first time in City of Birmingham choir history. I wonder what Christopher would have said to singing Knees Up Mother Brown at a city choir rehearsal. I have no idea. Well, I do have an idea, actually. I have a very good idea. So we're going to start tonight with some work on the KYRIE. So if you just make sure you've got your score open ready for that. And I've sort of already done it by introducing it like that, but just remember that pronunciation, KYRIE ELEISON, Christe ELEISON, KYRIE ELEISON. So right from the very start of the piece, the very first thing you sing has got to be on that correct sort of vowel colour. So first of all, I would like actually to start on page 4 of your score, which is that little bit where we start in bar 54. Let us see in the score that we have on Shobi, just going into that little fugal section first of all. And we're going to just get our brains into that by doing a little sing through that section first of all, and just see whether you've got it nice and firmly in your head from last time, and then we'll do a little bit of work on it. So here comes, let's just get that pole out of the way so that it's out of your hair. So here comes the KYRIE. So that hopefully has just got your brains back in. Sorry, that started a bit earlier than I'd said, didn't it? So by the time you'd find out where we were, I'm sure you were getting your heads around the thing anyway. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about breathing in that section, because while I want you to observe the commas in the text, I think it'd be quite a good idea just to lift, but without taking a breath when you've got two phrases back to back. So if you've got a rest, by all means stop and take a breath. But for example, if we look at the tenors in bar 61, they've got KYRIE ELEISON, ELEISON, ELEISON. And I did that all in one breath, but with just those little lifts in there. And that actually helps you to make much more of a sense of the sort of flow of the section there. So perhaps let's just do a few bars of that and see if you can get that sense of flow that just sustains a little bit more. It's more for the tenors and basses than the altos and sopranos, just the way it happens to go. So basses, this is bar 54. Let's just go in at that section first of all. Basses starting 1, 2, 3. Sopranos. Tenors. hopefully that's just given a little bit more sense of the sostenuto through there. There are a few other bits and pieces I just like to do, because this is one of the hard things to do online, because I'd like the altos and sopranos really to feel as if their two parts are sort of really working as a pair. Now, sopranos, you can't hear the altos. Altos, you can't hear the sopranos. But let's just do for a minute from bar 57, where the sopranos come in. And I want you sopranos just to be aware of what the altos are doing underneath you. So you starting in here. And you see how they sort of work as a pair there. And then the same here. And then we'll do the same thing with the tenors and basses in a moment. Let's just try that. Be aware what's going on. Sopranos in 57. 1, 2, 3. Altos. Sopranos. So just be aware of the interplay between those parts. It's really important. And sopranos in a moment will look at bar 65 just to get that little ornament looking a little bit better, or sounding a little bit better. Tenors, basses, let's do the same with you. So again, see how the parts go in these pairs. So basses starting. Okay, so let's just try it. Basses, bar 54, we'll just do about a page of this, all right. Basses, 1, 2, 3. Tenors. Basses. Good. So be aware of what's going on around you. This is one of the things where you really do miss actually being in the same room and actually rehearsing together. You know, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Sopranos, bars 64, 65, that ELEISON. I just want to try playing a little bit with the speed of that and also with the articulation to get you controlling it better. So let's just do slowly for a moment. Bar 65, sopranos. ELEISON. And I suggest you put the E sound on the last two notes of the bar. ELEISON. It's just a slight change in the diphthong there. Sopranos at that slow, sustained speed. 2 and 3 and. So hopefully at that speed and at that degree of smoothness it should be easy to do. Let's now do it a bit faster and staccato. So ELEISON, sopranos, and. And it's quite hard to do, isn't it? Do it one more time. 2 and 3 and. Now let's mix it up a bit. So I want ELEISON. So make the second note staccato and then just articulate the scale down. So you're just playing around with what the voice is doing there. Le, 65, 2 and 3 and staccato. So let's try now sopranos singing the whole phrase. KYRIE ELEISON, ELEISON. So this is 62. Sopranos, 1, 2 and 3 and. Now be neat. So that's definitely worth doing a bit of solo practice on. Altos. One of the things with this little section is just that it's really high for you, isn't it? Altos from bar 67. KYRIE ELEISON, KYRIE. Now, I know those of you who've recently sung Mahler 8 will say that this is not high at all, but actually it is quite high, isn't it? Especially to be singing Q up there. So, altos, let's just prepare for that lead, and let's just hear you sing from the last bar of page 5, bar 67. KYRIE. Watch the vowel. 1 and 2 and 3. Up you go. After that, isn't it? But that little is fiddly. Let's just sing that. That's bar 71. ELEISON, ELEISON, ELEISON. 71, 2 and 3 and stop there. So just make sure that those jumps are really neatly done. Tenors, just a couple of little isolated bits for you, really, because yours on the whole fits together well. But at the beginning of page 6, bar 68, that ELEISON has got a fantastic sense of joy about it. So don't turn the page and be not ready for that. So you've got KYRIE ELEISON, ELEISON. Let's do tenors only on that from, this is bar 66, I think it is. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3. Start breathing in. Okay, and then while we're there as well, just finding that F sharp, which you should hear from the sopranos, I hope. So just keep your eye out. There's lots of F sharp in the previous bar from the sopranos. And basses, just while we're there, there's various octave jumps, which is more, you know, the sopranos barely moved by more than a semitone in this section. But look at the end. This is bar 67, end of page 5. ELEISON, ELEISON. And again, it's got to be a sense of a firework going off at that point. Let's do basses from your lead in 65. 1, 2, 3. KYRIE ELEISON, ELEISON. And then you've got another octave on your next lead, if you just find that. ELEISON, ELEISON, ELEISON. And I'm sure you know what that interval is down there. Okay, but actually that diminished fourth has got to be neat. Don't let it get soggy there. Let's do basses from bar 70 at the end of the bar. 1, 2. Carry on. So hopefully you know your way through all those little bits and pieces. Let's just one more time run from 54, please. All the choir. Here we go. 1, 2 and 3. Good. Worth getting that just really neat. Now, let's just actually go straight on from there, because the next section has so much that is very, very similar. So again, I think it's less so in this section, but if you've got phrases that run one up to another, lift but don't breathe. It's much more sort of heading back towards the recapitulation through this little section. So let's go straight on from where we've just got to. So it's the lead at bar 83 for the basses. KYRIE, and keep resetting that German vowel. It's not KYRIE, Q, got that sound to it, hasn't it? Okay, so basses 1, 2 and 3 and KYRIE. Good. Tell you what, it's great fun taking a rehearsal and playing the piano at the same time. Makes me appreciate Colin all the more. So, lots of interesting things there. Look at bars 92, 3, 4, 5, 6. And suddenly, it's the sort of choral equivalent of Haydn sort of suddenly getting a tambourine out in the orchestra and going way and just enjoying it. That it's got to have an incredible sense of energy there. Sopranos and tenors. Let's just see whether we can just hear you do that little section. And what I'd like to do is to see whether you can actually articulate those phrases without losing pitch. And it's not easy, okay? So let's do sopranos from 92 and tenors coming in at the end of the bar. Here we go then. 1, 2, 3. So tenors, be careful please on that. ELEISON, ele. That's got to be very precise onto that C sharp in 96. So just be ready for what's going on at that point. There's still, just a reminder, there's that tendency for flatness and it's just, it mustn't have that yeah, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? That's something Colin can't do on the Yamaha in the Priory runs, but I can do it on here. So be careful all the time, be thinking upwards. It's David Wilcox, up a continual upward slope. That's what you need to be doing, okay? Q, just another reminder of that as well. Good. Now let's just go back, because what I'd like to do is just to remind ourselves that there's a little bit of solo that comes back on page 3. This is back bar 43, and I've had a handful of people asking about solos, but only a handful, and it would just be perhaps quite good if we just to run this little section so that you can all have a little go at it. So the soprano solo is coming in bar 39 with this. And the solo's coming in. Not exactly difficult, is it? It's not the most taxing of solos, but it would be really good to have a good range of people having a go at that. Let's just sing in from bar 43, all of you doing it. Sopranos and altos starting us off. 2 and 3 and 1. Basses. Etc. So we go on to that next little bit after that. So know where that's going. I'm going to run that into context now. So just going to go back to the top of 3 where the soprano soloist comes in. And we mustn't forget that one bar of chorus in bar 50 that it's really easy to skate around. So we need to get that. And it's got to be elegant when we get there. So here is, for your delectation, bar 39 where the soprano solo comes in, and we'll hear the solo bits. Well, I'd like to hear them, but I can't. So here's the solo. Solo verses. Here's the full bar. And in with the fugue. Basses. Good, and then let's just cut on to the last little section that starts at the bottom of that page, bar 116. So basses again, being ready with KYRIE ELEISON. I'm sure you know how it goes, but remind yourself it goes up and up and up and up, sopranos particularly. So basses, here is 2 bars before you come in. Basses. Good, and there's another little bit of solo we've just glanced over there, so let's just hear that. Tenors and basses, would you just sing for the altos and sopranos that little bit that starts at the end of bar 128? ELEISON, ELEISON. And don't do it too loudly, tenors and basses, it just needs to be quite nimble there. Then sopranos and altos and tenors, a little bit of solo that comes after that. So tenors and basses at the end of 128. Actually, sopranos, you may as well join them. 1, 2, 3. Here's your solos. And sopranos, before you get worried, we've actually got a professional soprano soloist who's doing the difficult bits. So I don't mind if you sing ELEISON. You could then mime the next bit and it would sound fantastic. But we'll actually have someone else singing that just in case you're getting any ideas there. Good. And let's just do the last little chunk, which is coming down the bottom of that page. So let's do 3 bars before letter G. This is bar 141. And just going into the final section to get our breathing sorted out. And that's subito piano, don't forget that. Okay, here we go. Here's letter G. It's such a good piece, this. It's such fun to work on. One or two little bits and pieces just to be thinking about in that is that we've actually got to make sure that we don't peak too early. And that last section, after you've had the fireworks, if you like, of the soprano solo around bar 130 through there, that last section can be just that little bit of extra energy to make sure that we really do have a good finale. I thought about the piano. That's the subito piano at 151. It's sort of almost hidden in the copy there, isn't it? It's very easy for that just to be soppy, and it must not be soppy at all. It's got to be exciting. So really precise timing of the move as you go on to that 6/4, and then into the last ELEISONs from there. So lots and lots of things to be thinking about there. And just before, I'd like to do a little run through the entire movement, but sopranos, your neighbours are going to love you. Would you just find for me bar, let's think, let's do it in from bar 120. So starting halfway through bar 120, and you've really got to pace that as it go up to here. It's only a B flat. I could transpose it up a semitone if you'd like, just to give you a little bit of extra challenge. Let's try it from halfway through 120. Sopranos, really work on your breathing. 1 and 2. Big breath. So that really really is a wonderfully exciting moment, and you've really got to be in control of what's going on at that point. So, a little bit of a surprise for you coming up next, because Colin has been working away on some different audio for our video track, and we've had a wonderful exchange of emails of all sorts today while we've been sorting that out, and I think this is going to work. Colin, give us a big smile. Here we go. This is from the beginning. So hopefully that was a little bit nicer to sing with than the previous track. So you've got a little bit more sense of what's going on in the orchestra at that point. And in fact, I was talking today to some of our orchestral players who are recording the parts in their living rooms as we speak. So we'll be able to assemble that for you as well. Crumbs, it's Haydn had it easy, didn't he? He just turned up and conducted the orchestra. I mean, how old-fashioned that must have been. Okay, we must move on. So we need to do some work on the CREDO. So if you just care to move on to that for me now, and I'm just going to do a little bit of reminder on the pronunciation. Sorry to keep going away at this, but it's really important that we get that. CREDO, CREDO, DEUM rather than DEUM. DEUM, Patrem omnipotentem factorem soli et terre, etc. Patre natum ante omnia secula. Deum de Deo, getting that E sound. And then later on, genitum non factum, consubstantialem patri, quem descendit de solis. All those things to annoy you. I just love the way that your faces sort of glaze over when I start doing German Latin. It's got a great sense of what's going on there. I so wish I could hear you, but there we go. Okay, so I'm going to start towards the end of the movement. Would you find bar 59? So that's on about page 4, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4 of this particular movement, bar 59. And the reason I want to start there is that I really want to get this sense of the mood at this point. When you come in, Qui propter nos homines. Could you say to me, propter, with 2 rolled R's? Okay, so that R version is going to be what's needed there. Qui propter nos homines et propter nostram salutem. Let's say that in rhythm all together. 1 and 2. Qui propter nos homines et propter nostram salutem. And what I'm looking for is that sense of real excitement towards there. It's not loud, but it's high voltage. You've got to imagine that you're walking barefoot on hot coals. Trying not to put too much weight on it. Let's just go straight in from that point. So sopranos and tenors starting us off. Okay, so here we go. Bar 59. 1 and 2. It's always fun leaving that hanging on a dominant seventh like that, isn't it? So remember that we've got to make a move gradually from that dainty sort of fly on a razor blade texture, gradually building. So feel the energy building as you get here. And the way the chords, the keys keep changing at that point really helps the excitement to build up there. So let's help that. Shorten the vowels and emphasize the consonants. Let's just say descendit, desolis, descendit, desolis. Here we go. 1 and 2. Descendit, desolis, descendit, desolis. So short vowels and really getting lots of air through those consonants. That's why I was doing tongue twisters in the warm-up. Okay, it's there for a reason. What was that shiny sunshine thingy? You know the one I did. So that's precisely what we're needing to do at this point. So let's just have one more little shot on that little section. Qui propter nos homines. Almost staccato. Okay, here we go. And then the notes can get a little bit longer as it gets louder. 1 and 2. And what are we doing with the S at the end? we are giving that little bit of a gap beforehand. Des solis, lis. Daylight before the S. That's really important. Good. So having got that, I wonder whether you can now actually get that soft dynamic when you run in from the bit that immediately precedes it. So let's go back to bar 50. And remember, it's genitum. Genitum non factum consubstantialem. So this is loud, and then we've got to make that energized drop when you hit 59 down into that softer sound. Let's just try doing the join. So I'm going to play in from bar 48, and I'd like you please, sopranos and tenors to come in 50, altos and basses to come in the next bar. Here is bar 48. Good, I'll stop you there. Are you able to sing that soft lead even more excitedly? So sing, let's just try sopranos and tenors. Facta sunt qui propter. And I want you to breathe as if you're going to sing it fortissimo. And then it's the stage whisper. Qui propter nos homines. Let's do facta sunt. Sops and tenors in 58. 1 and 2 and. Okay, that real drop in dynamic, but even more exciting. Let's do the same thing for the altos and basses. So this is bar 59. Facta sunt qui propter nos homines. All right, really emphasising the consonants. Facta sunt. Altos, basses. 1 and 2 and. And then off we go into that. So it's a really big moment. If we're going to make that effective, you've all got to do it. No excuses. Nobody missing out on that at all. Good. Let's go back a little bit more. Back to bar 31. 31. I think you should know this movement pretty well now. So a lot of what I'm doing is about style and about interpretation. And of course, that's all the more frustrating because I have no idea at all exactly what's going on chez vous. So it'd be quite funny actually if you were to record a bit of a rehearsal so I had some idea what on earth was going on. There we go. So let's have a look then at bar 31. Most of the words are straightforward pronunciation wise here, but will you remember that the DEUM, DEUM de Deo, Lumen de Lumine, Deum verum, that little bit of extra E twang there, okay? So, sopranos and tenors starting in, I'm going to play from bar 28. That's the middle line, last two bars of that particular page, and I'd like you to come in on et ex parte with a lovely bell-like sound. So here's bar 28. Breathe. Now, I have a suspicion, I've no idea whether I'm right or not, but I have a suspicion that quite a lot of you missed that lead, sopranos and tenors. Okay? Am I right? One or two faces give me a very definite no, I definitely came in. And some of you slightly confused at what I'm talking about. Let's do 28 again, and make sure that you breathe a good bar ahead of your lead. Let's do it one more time. Here's 28. Breathe. And on it goes from there. Good. Good. I'm sure that that was better that time. A reminder too that we talked about the different moods of these sections, and that one we've just done is a little bit more lyrical and sustained than the bit that comes right at the beginning. Let's go back to that now and see if we can get those moods. Let's go back on the chat, and I'd like you please to see whether you can actually say to me some mood names. We've done this before, but I'd like to know mood for the first section at bar 8. Just a one-word descriptive word there just to suggest what the mood might be for Credo. Belief comes through there from Janet. Thank you, Janet. Confident. Yeah, I love all these. Majestic. Oh, here they come. Excited. Great stuff. Any more? This is where I see who's the fast typers. Affirmation. Firm. Yeah, these are great things. If you could write all of those in your copy, but don't tell Sue I'm telling her that, because she'll ask you to rub it out afterwards. Now, if you then go on to bar 31, where the mood is a little bit more et ex patre natum ante omnia secula. So let's move away a little bit from the majestic, excited, affirmation, firm. What's the mood for that second section? Let's just get those into your head so you're really thinking moods at this point. Expansive, I like that, Stella. Calm. It's calm, but it's not unenergetic, certainly. Lyrical, yearning, content. Yeah, fantastic. Good. Good. Yeah, these are all great words. I love lyrical. It really captures that one, I think. It's got that sense of a bit of love coming through the whole thing, hasn't it? So let's go right back, just do the first section and into that second section and see whether you can really convey those moods to me. Now, I can't hear, you know that, but at least I can see a few faces. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm playing, I'm going to be seeing who's doing what. So here's the very beginning. Breathing in. Breathing. Good. So remember those moods as you go through. Otherwise, it just becomes a little bit uniform, and I don't want anything to be uniform in this at all. Good. So we don't have the luxury of a really elegant orchestral accompaniment for this, but I would like just to pop that together through the entire movement, and getting those moods as we go along. So here comes the screen share, and here it is.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Good. So hopefully you're getting really quite adept with all that now. That's what I'm hoping for. Good. Now, one or two things. Do have a seat if you are not sitting down already. I have got just a little something for you to have a look at here. I'd like you just to answer a question on another poll, which is just to do with scores. I'm just launching the poll now. It's for two reasons. First of all, I'm curious to know how many of you are singing straight off a screen and how many of you have printed out. That would just be useful in planning for things towards the end of term. And I've also just asked a few questions about what copies that you've got of Christmas things. We had a meeting yesterday to talk about what we're going to do at the end of term. So it's just asking you about whether you've got your own Messiah score, which I guess will be most of you. And then whether you've got a Noel or a Bob Chilcott Carroll's book 2, which we did last year, and then asking you which Carols for Choirs books you've got, so that we can choose things that are actually going to be quite straightforward in terms of getting people involved with that. And I was actually in touch with OUP today about getting some permissions for doing some bits and bobs there. So if you can just do that for me very quickly. While you're doing that, and we've got nearly 50 responses in there already, which is terrific. Just a couple of little things. I put into Shobi today the instructions for how to make your video recording. So that, if you'd like to take a little look at that, you'll find it in the grey folder. Start here to find out how all this works. Go down, there's a thing about how to submit your contributions. Now, please, I beg you, don't get yourselves in a stew about being heard solo on the recording for 3 reasons. Number 1, you've all been auditioned and you wouldn't be in the choir if you weren't good enough. Number 2, with over 100 voices to position and blend together, I'm not going to have time to sit and listen to tiny blemishes any more than I can on a Tuesday night rehearsal in the Priory rooms. And number 3, our goal collectively is to make something very positive out of this whole experience this term. And we really want you all to enjoy that. So please don't lack self-confidence at this point. Otherwise, my Tuesdays spent compiling rehearsal scripts, making video and audio recordings will all have been in vain. So those are my 3 reasons. Don't get in a pickle about it. Enjoy it. Have a bit of fun. And we'll all have something to enjoy at the end of it. Now, that's all from me for this evening. But Mike, are you there? Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody as our new incoming chairman tonight? Where are you, Mike?
I'm here, Adrian. I'm here. I don't know if people hear me?
Yep.
Great. Thank you, Adrian. Well, you've seen the newsletter that Tricia has listed the available posts. If anyone is willing and able to stand for one of these board member positions, please consider standing. And the only other thing is to urge those people who haven't completed the online survey, which is perhaps a little bit supplanted by Adrian's very nifty poll this evening. But anyway, if you could answer those poll questions for me on the little Google survey, that would be great too. And I think those are the only things I wanted to mention. The only other thing, in addition to Adrian's 3 reasons for not worrying about recording yourself, I want to have it on record now that any errors in the bass voice, I've already told the board meeting, any errors in the bass voice, I can tell you now, they're all David Lawrence, Mark Lawrence, they're not nobody else. So, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Very good. Mark, did you want to answer that? Perhaps not. Very good. Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock on the nail. We'll leave the meeting open while there are people still here who want to do a bit of a chat, but it's lovely to see you all. And through the times, it looks like things are going down into a little bit more of a weird time again at the moment, doesn't it? So please keep safe. Keep away from the virus if at all possible. And if you do have the bad misfortune to get it, our thoughts and prayers will be with you. But keep singing, keep safe, and I look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you, Adrian. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Adrian. That's terrific.
you.
Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I shall work on a suitable riposte.
Sorry, Mark.
You do that. You do that.
I can only make the joke about you because I know your performance will be flawless. So
Oh, yes. What do you mean? It's so bad that I'll fall
I'm
right
not
through the
sure.
floor.
Not at all. In fact, I'll come round to your house to record my thing with you. So
that will improve mine.